In this world there exists a tower with many floors, and legend states that if you climb this tower the world can be yours and you will become a god. A young boy named Bam and his childhood friend Rachel live outside the tower. But one day Rachel enters the tower because she wants to achieve her dream of seeing the stars. Bam follows her when he meets Hedon, the caretaker of the tower, but he has to beat a test first to break a ball guarded by a large eel. To help him with the test, Yuri, a princess of Jahad, gives him Black March, a famous weapon out of 13 weapons based on the months. Bam has trouble breaking the orb, until he asks Black March, who has the spirit of a girl inside it, to help him, and Black March gives him enough power to beat the test. Bam then wakes up in the next test, where 400 people who wish to climb the tower must fight each other until half of them remain. At the test, Bam is chased by the hunter Rak Wraithrazer and meets the blue-haired boy Kun. Kun helps him escape from Rak because he sees that Bam wields Black March. Kun doesn't understand why a boy like Bam has a legendary weapon from a princess of the tower, and Bam tells Kun it was lent to him. Meanwhile, other battles take place throughout the arena, and the two boys wait until there are less contestants left. Kun doesn't think Bam will last long in the tower because he doesn't have a killing instinct, and Bam tells him that he is trying to find a girl named Rachel in the tower. They decide to become allies when they are attacked by Rak, but the battle is soon over. The test announces they need to form groups of 3, so the trio Anak, Hatsu, and Ship team up reluctantly. Kun and Bam attempt to explain the situation to Rak, who continues to attack them, and Bam uses his pacifism to trick Rak into not fighting them so they can team up with him. At the next test, a ranker, people who have managed to climb the tower before, named Liro Ro, appears for the next test. To pass the test they must pass through a wall of Shinsu, power from the tower, as a group or they will fail. Shinsu doesn't seem to affect Bam, so he passes, and while the rest of the group struggle, Liro Ro reveals that everyone inside the tower was born here, which makes him and Rachel unusual as they come from another world. Eventually, a number of regulars pass the test. Kun is recognized as a member of the Kun family, who was exiled because his older sister did not become one of Jahad's princesses. The next test is administered by Yuhan, and the group must choose one of many doors correctly within 10 minutes or they lose. With 12 choices and only 10 minutes, Kun uses his intellect to try to determine the correct door. But Rak is tired of waiting, so he opens a random door, and the team passes the test. It turns out that all they had to do was open any door within 5 minutes, and the test was their instincts. When they finish the test, they see that Ship's team has also passed. The next test is a bonus test, where 5 teams attempt to steal a golden crown from the other teams, and whoever has the crown and sits on the throne after 5 minutes wins. Ship's team is part of the first round, and everyone sees that Anak the lizard girl wields a powerful weapon and she takes the crown. Since Anak is on the throne, Hatsu and Ship have to defend her, and Hatsu gives Ship a pep talk because Ship isn't very strong. They work together to defend Anak, but other teams sit out of the fighting to wait for the right moment to take the crown, such as when Laura, a man always in a blanket, attacks when they are distracted. Anak defends herself by activating her whip weapon, which is the Green April, and Black March begins to react to it as well. Anak notices Black March and demands Bam give the weapon to her because he is unworthy and not a princess of Jahad. She almost fights him until she is stopped by Liro Ro. She bets him her own weapon Green April that Bam will not last till the end of the bonus test, and if he fails she will take Black March. Kun uses the opportunity to trick their opponents with a fake crown. He gives the real crown to Bam and puts the boy on the throne. Kun reveals that his briefcase actually held allies that he smuggled into the rest of the tests, and they help the team fight against the other regulars. Rachel is revealed to be on her own team, but she doesn't want to kill Bam and their goal isn't the crown. But when Rachel is attacked, Bam jumps off the crown to defend her and is hit on the head. Bam somehow protects her by becoming a giant wall of Shinsu, and a woman stops time to force him to sleep. Since the crown is destroyed in the process, the test ends with no winner, and they are given 3 days to rest. While they recover for the next test, Rachel approaches Kun and asks him to lie to Bam and tell him that she isn't really Rachel. She feels that if she and Bam are weaker when they are together, and there can be no weakness in the tower. Kun isn't comfortable with this, so he tries to drop hints to Bam that the girl is really Rachel. Since Bam lost the crown game, Anak gains the Black March, but a regular calls her an imposter princess. The teams are taught that each regular will have a position in battle because of their skills. Rak becomes a spear bearer for his ranged combat skills. Kun becomes a light bearer as he is strong in strategy, and Bam becomes a wave controller because of his Shinsu skills. Meanwhile, Endorsi introduces herself and she is also a princess of Jahad. She becomes friends with them while they also meet Hatsu and Ship, who are no longer teamed with Anak, who has dissolved their team because she has both Green April and Black March. Endorsi later duels and defeats Anak, who is revealed to be the orphan daughter of the real princess of Jahad. When a woman becomes a princess of Jahad, they are not allowed to have children. However, Anak's mother Anak had a child with a chef, and the power of the king was passed from mother to daughter. After their duel, Endorsi and Anak come to an understanding, as Anak's mother was kind to Endorsi. Meanwhile, while the wave controller are training, Ho becomes angry when he learns that his ally Loro has been helping Bam use Shinsu, as he sees Bam as a weak enemy that needs to be eliminated. Since Bam hears that Endorsi and Anak had a duel and are resting, Bam visits them with food which they reluctantly accept, and during training Rachel ignores everyone and eats alone in her room. The next test is a game of tag, but Bam and Kun are put on opposite teams. To win, each team will have to have their chosen player escape from the test administrators, who is the powerful ranker Quan. Kun's team uses a fake it to trick Quan, but this makes the ranker angry. Tima tries to help Anak get to the exit, but they are quickly ambushed and defeated separately by Quan. When Quan gets to the bridge, Kun meets him and dares the ranker to jump off the bridge while he hides Anak underneath the bridge. Quan realizes his strategy, and he grabs Kun to jump off the bridge with him, but Kun uses Green April with Anak to save himself from falling. But before Anak can cross the finish, Quan suddenly ambushes her and Tima loses. This is because Kun and Loro secretly betrayed Tima to help Quan, so that their friends on Team B can win the test and have a higher chance of progressing. When Team B enters the test, Endorsi decides she will be the chosen player. However, when the test begins, Endorsi attacks her teammates. As Endorsi fights her teammates, she tells a story about how a group of girls were forced to compete to become a princess of Jahad, and one day one of the girls murdered the rest of them. Endorsi plans to take out some of the other fishermen positions in the test so that she can pass, regardless of the results of the game of tag, and she tells Bam that Rachel is trying to hide her identity from him. Bam tries to make Endorsi stop, and another regular reveals another ignition weapon like Black March. Meanwhile, Ho has taken Rachel hostage because if Ho can kill Rachel, that will make Bam lose his motivation to climb the tower. Bam arrives, and in the confrontation, Ho stabs Rachel but doesn't kill her. Upset that his plan failed, Ho stabs himself. Endorsi arrives, revealing that she has stolen the ignition weapon from the other regular, and she duels and defeats Quan. Kun knew that only 2 wave controllers could pass, and since Loro is a strong wave controller, he purposely manipulated the situation with Ho so that Bam would be available to pass. Rachel also failed the test because she was heavily injured during the game. The group decide to hold a funeral for Ho, and an upset Rachel calls Bam clueless and tells him to abandon her. Bam tells her that no one can replace her for him, and she apologizes for her words. That night, the rest of the group drink together, and Serena decides to leave. Meanwhile, one of the administrators is part of Jahad's law enforcement, and has a secret mission to recover Green April and Black March while assassinating Anak in the process. For Rachel to pass the test, a regular person needs to pass a special test called the Administrator's Test. And since Bam is the only irregular other than Rachel, he volunteers to take the test. Irregulars have a bad reputation amongst the regulars, but instead of shunning him, the regulars decide to help him. Rachel and Bam have to take the test together, and they are sent underwater in a bubble made of Shinsu. They must be caught by net dolphins who are hunting for fish. However, several creatures are hunting the dolphins, so the regulars have to help Bam and Rachel by fighting off the creatures, including a dangerous monster called the bull. During the test, Ship runs into the bull and is almost eaten but is saved by Anak and Endorsi, who confront the beast. They decide to compete to see who can defeat the bull and make a bet. If Anak wins, Endorsi will be her servant, but if Endorsi wins, she will get Anak's weapons. The bull retreats and they chase it but are separated, and Endorsi is defeated. Meanwhile, the enforcer Ren controls the bull secretly and confronts Anak, showing the orphan her mother's necklace. Anak tries to fight Ren, but she is defeated and Ren takes Green April. Ren controls the bull to bring Endorsi, and he orders the real princess of Jahad to kill Anak with Green April. Meanwhile, Hatsu, Rak, and Pericule keep an eye on the goblins that are going to hunt dolphins, and Kun orders them to wait for the right moment. But Pericule accidentally ruins his strategy by accidentally attacking. Endorsi pretends to go along with Ren's order to kill Anak, but she turns on Ren and gives the lizard girl her weapon in exchange for Black March. They both fight Ren with the ignition weapons, but he proves too powerful for them and starts to kill Anak until he is stopped by the Princess Yuri, who was brought by Ship. Yuri orders Ren to leave, but he decides to attack Yuri instead, who brushes off his attacks. Meanwhile, Hatsu, Rak, and Pericule are in trouble but are saved by Loro. And Kun's true strategy is revealed as he had the team lure several monster factions into each other so that they can fight amongst themselves. But as the team fights against the monsters, a boy who looks like Kun appears, asking if he would like to see the Princess of Jahad, Maria, but Kun turns him down. Meanwhile, over the course of the test, Bam and Rachel seem to have grown closer, and Bam is hopeful they can climb the tower together. But Ren has sent the bull to go kill them before he was defeated by Yuri. Yuri wants to help Bam, but Anak and the others refuse to let her help, because they want him to defeat the bull himself to pass the test so they can all climb the tower together. Yuri agrees and takes Black March from Anak. Underwater, Bam struggles but is eventually able to defeat the bull and is injured in the process. He returns to the bubble with Rachel and promises her they will look at the stars together at the top of the tower, but Rachel pushes him out of the bubble to murder him. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.